Ilara Vance, once known as Paris's gemstone sorceress, was now merely a shadow of her former self. Her talented hands, which once crafted glittering jewelry masterpieces, now trembled as they held a cold teacup. Her Montmartre attic apartment, once filled with light and laughter, was now steeped in an inexplicable gloom. Every gemstone in her workshop, from sapphires as deep blue as the ocean to rubies as fiery red as blood, reminded her of a glorious past that had shattered. A family tragedy struck like a violent storm, sweeping everything away. Her parents, who had instilled in her a love for art and beauty, passed away in an unexpected accident. The immense pain plunged Ilara into a deep abyss of depression. She refused all invitations, all projects, and even her closest friends. Her world shrank, becoming nothing more than cold walls and painful memories. Only one person remained persistent by her side, her youngest sister, Lily. Lily, with her optimistic spirit and warm heart, was a rare ray of light in Ilara's life. She frequently called, sent quirky handwritten cards, and sometimes unexpectedly appeared with a box of pastries and trivial stories about her life. Ilara was immensely grateful for Lily, but she couldn't escape her cocoon of sorrow. Then, one day, unexpected news arrived. Lily was getting married. The groom was Julian Thorne, the only son of the renowned tech billionaire, Mr. Arthur Thorne. The wedding would take place at Blackwood Castle, an ancient castle nestled amidst the rolling green hills of Tuscany, Italy. "You have to come, Ilara," Lily said over the phone, her voice full of earnestness. "This is the most important day of my life. I need you by my side." Ilara hesitated. The thought of facing a strange crowd with curious glances and polite small talk made her shiver. But Lily's plea was so sincere, and Ilara couldn't refuse her sister. She knew this might be her last chance to reclaim some part of herself, even if it was just a tiny spark of hope. The flight from Paris to Florence was a challenge for Ilara. Every sound, every unfamiliar face made her feel anxious. But as the taxi left the city and began winding through the twisting roads of Tuscany, a strange feeling began to seep into her soul. The scenery outside the window was like a living painting. Vast vineyards stretched endlessly, lush green under the gentle autumn sun. Ancient olive trees stood majestically, their trunks twisted like natural sculptures. Small villages nestled on the hillsides, with bright red tile roofs and ancient stone walls. "Welcome to Tuscany, Miss Ilara," the driver said, his voice warm and friendly. "A beautiful place to heal the soul." Ilara offered a faint smile. Perhaps he was right. Perhaps this place could truly bring her some peace. As the car approached Blackwood Castle, Ilara was overwhelmed. The castle stood majestically amidst the magnificent natural landscape, with ancient gray stone walls and soaring towers reaching for the sky. Surrounding the castle was a vast garden, with ancient shady trees and lush green lawns. "How magnificent," Ilara whispered. "Indeed, madam," the driver replied. "This castle has witnessed countless love stories and histories." Upon entering the castle, Ilara felt as if she had stepped into another world. Thick stone walls, long, echoing corridors, and large arched windows overlooking the ancient garden. The scent of old wood, dried flowers, and scented candles wafted through the air, creating a space that was both solemn and cozy. Lily was waiting in the main hall, her smile as radiant as the morning sun. She rushed to hug Ilara, happy tears streaming down her cheeks. "You came! I knew you would!" Lily cheered. Ilara hugged her sister tightly, feeling a little warmth seep into her frozen heart. This was her family, the only ones she had left. That evening, a small party was held to welcome the guests. Ilara tried to blend into the crowd, but she still felt out of place. She sat alone in a corner of the room, sipping a glass of red wine and observing everyone. Suddenly, a deep, warm voice spoke beside her. "Are you enjoying the party?" Ilara turned. Before her was a tall man with dark brown hair and eyes as deep blue as the ocean. He had a warm smile and a calm demeanor, exuding intelligence and refinement. I'm fine, Alara stammered. I'm Alexander Thorne, he said, extending his hand. Julian's brother. Alara shook his hand, feeling a slight electric current run through her. I'm Alara Vance, Lily's sister. I know, Alexander said, his eyes sparkling. Lily has told me a lot about you. You're a talented jewelry designer, aren't you? Alara nodded faintly, feeling a little awkward. That's in the past. Why the past? Alexander asked, his voice full of curiosity. A talent like yours shouldn't be wasted like that. Alara didn't want to talk about her pain, but Alexander's sincere gaze made her feel trusting. She began to tell him about her family tragedy, about the pain and loss that had made her give up her passion. Alexander listened attentively, without interrupting her once. When Alara finished her story, he simply said, I understand. Pain can make us lose our way, but it can also be a motivation for us to find a new path. Alexander's words were like a fresh breeze blowing into Alara's parched soul. She had never thought that a stranger could understand her so well. They continued to talk throughout the evening. Alexander told Alara about his work, about his travels around the world, and about his love for art and culture. Alara felt a strange connection with this man, a connection she had never felt with anyone else. When the party ended, Alexander walked Alara back to her room. Before parting, he said, I hope we'll have a chance to talk more in the coming days. Alara nodded faintly, a rare smile gracing her lips. Perhaps this trip wasn't as bad as she thought. In the following days, Alexander became Alara's companion. He took her to explore the most beautiful corners of Tuscany. They walked together along small trails, admiring ancient villages and vibrant sunflower fields. Alexander was a wonderful storyteller. He told Alara about the history of the region, about ancient legends and romantic love stories. Alara felt her soul gradually expanding, like a flower blooming under the sunlight. One morning, Alexander took Alara to a small stream hidden in the forest. The water was crystal clear, gurgling over mossy rocks. Bright red and golden maple leaves fell gently onto the surface, creating a breathtakingly poetic scene. This place is so peaceful, Alara whispered. Indeed, Alexander said. Nature has a miraculous healing power. They sat by the stream, listening to the water flow and the birds sing. Alara felt a deep sense of peace seep into her soul, a peace she had lost for a very long time. Alexander continuously encouraged Alara to return to her passion. He brought her books about gemstones, jewelry magazines, and rough, uncut stones. Just try, Alara, he said. Just a little. You'll see that beauty is always there, waiting for you to discover it. Alara hesitated. And the fear of failure, the fear of confronting painful memories still haunted her. But Alexander's determined gaze gave her strength. One afternoon, Alara sat in the small workshop in the castle, which Alexander had prepared for her. She picked up a rough stone, feeling its coolness and hardness. How long had it been since she had touched a gemstone? She began to polish the stone, little by little, carefully and meticulously. The sound of grinding stone echoed in the quiet room. Like a healing melody, Alara felt intense focus, a passion she had lost for a very long time. As the stone gradually took shape, Alara realized that it wasn't just a simple gemstone. It was a part of her soul that was slowly being reborn. Lily and Julian's wedding day finally arrived. Blackwood Castle was more magnificent than ever, with fresh flowers and sparkling lights. Guests from all over the world gathered, creating a joyful and bustling atmosphere. Alara wore a simple yet elegant emerald silk dress. She adorned her hair with a small hairpin she had designed herself, with a glittering gemstone at its center. It was the first gemstone she had crafted since her family tragedy. As Lily walked down the aisle, Alara couldn't help but be moved. Her sister was so beautiful, radiant in her pure white wedding dress. Lily's happy smile was a reminder that life goes on and love always exists. During the reception, Alexander came to Ilara, his eyes full of admiration. "You look beautiful, Ilara," he said, "and your hairpin. It's wonderful." Ilara smiled. "Thank you. You're the one who inspired me." Alexander took Ilara's hand, his eyes affectionate. "Ilara, I know you've been through a lot of difficulties, but I believe you will overcome everything. You are a strong and talented woman." Alexander's words were like a tonic, giving Ilara strength. She felt a warmth spread through her heart, a warmth she had longed for a very long time. That night, under the pale moonlight, Ilara and Alexander walked together in the castle garden. The air was fresh, with the faint scent of roses and wild grass. Stars twinkled in the dark sky like giant diamonds. "Ilara," Alexander said, his voice deep, I've fallen in love with you." Ilara was surprised. She hadn't expected Alexander to have feelings for her. She had been so consumed by her sorrow that she hadn't realized love was blossoming right beside her. "Alexander," Ilara whispered, I also have feelings for you." They embraced under the moonlight, a gentle yet meaningful kiss. It was a kiss of healing, of hope, and of a new love just beginning to bloom. After the wedding, Ilara decided to stay in Tuscany for a while longer. She and Alexander spent time together exploring the simple beauties of life. They cooked together, read together, and walked together in the forest. Alexander continuously encouraged Ilara to return to her jewelry design work. He helped her find a small workshop in a nearby village and provided her with the rarest gemstones. Ilara began designing again with a newfound passion. She no longer created glittering masterpieces. Instead, she focused on simple, delicate designs imbued with the beauty of nature and local culture. Ilara's jewelry quickly became popular. They were not only beautiful, but also carried a story, a message of healing and hope. Ilara's life gradually returned to normal. She was no longer consumed by sadness. Instead, she found joy in the small things in life. She spent time with family, friends, and her passion. One afternoon, Ilara and Alexander sat together by the lake, watching a small boat drift gently on the deep blue water. In the distance, majestic mountains stood tall, with ancient houses nestled on their slopes. "Life is beautiful, isn't it?" Ilara said, her voice full of happiness. "Indeed, my love," Alexander said, holding her hand tightly, "and it's even more beautiful with you by my side." Ilara leaned her head on Alexander's shoulder, feeling a deep sense of peace. She knew her healing journey wasn't over yet, but she was no longer alone. She had Alexander, her family, and love. As time passed, Ilara and Alexander's love grew deeper. They built a small home together in Tuscany, a cozy house with a flower-filled garden and large windows overlooking the magnificent natural scenery. Ilara continued to pursue her passion for jewelry design. She opened a small shop in the village where she displayed her works. Each piece of jewelry was made with her heart and soul, carrying a story of healing and hope. Alexander was always by Ilara's side, supporting her in everything. He was her companion, her confidant, and the one who helped her find herself again. One day, an unexpected event occurred. Alexander had to go on a business trip to a distant and dangerous land. Ilara was incredibly worried, but she knew she had to be strong. She had learned to face her fears, and she knew Alexander would return safely. During Alexander's absence, Ilara focused on her work. She designed a special jewelry set inspired by Alexander's travels. Each gemstone symbolized a place, a memory, and a prayer for his safety. When Alexander returned, Ilara ran to hug him. She couldn't hold back her happy tears. "I missed you so much," she whispered. "Me too, my love," Alexander said, holding her tightly. "I'm grateful you were always here, waiting for me." Alara gave Alexander the jewelry set she had designed. He put it on, his eyes filled with emotion. "It's beautiful, Alara," he said. "It's a reminder that our love can overcome any storm." They sat together by the fireplace, listening to the crackling fire and the rain falling outside. Alara felt a deep sense of peace. She knew life wasn't always easy, but she had Alexander by her side, and she had love. Many years passed, and Alara and Alexander lived a happy and fulfilling life. They had beautiful children who inherited their parents' talent and compassion. Alara became a world-renowned jewelry designer. Her works were not only highly regarded artistically, but also carried a meaningful message of healing, hope, and love. Alexander continued his work, but he always made time for his family. He was a wonderful husband and father, always supporting and loving Alara and their children. Alara and Alexander's family often returned to Blackwood Castle to visit Lily and Julian. The castle was still as magnificent as ever, but now it was filled with the laughter and joy of children. One afternoon, Alara and Alexander walked together in the castle garden. Ancient trees still stood tall, and flowers still bloomed brightly. Everything was still the same, but Alara felt a profound change in her soul. She was no longer the depressed and lost girl she once was. She had found herself, found love, and found the meaning of life. "My love," Alexander said, holding Alara's hand tightly, "you have created a wonderful legacy, not just beautiful jewelry, but also a story of resilience and love." Alara smiled. "It's all thanks to you, Alexander. You're the one who helped me find light in the darkness." They embraced under the sunset, their eyes filled with love and gratitude. Their love wasn't a romantic fairy tale, but a journey of healing, a journey of finding light in the darkness. Their grandchildren, lively and adorable children, ran into the workshop, their laughter echoing loudly. Alara and Alexander looked at each other, their eyes filled with happiness. This was their legacy, a testament to their love and resilience. Life continued, with its ups and downs, joys and sorrows. But Alara knew she would always have Alexander by her side, her family, and love. And that was all she needed to overcome any challenge. The small stream still gurgled over the rocks, the maple leaves still fell gently onto the water. The small boat still drifted leisurely on the lake, and the mountains still stood majestically against the deep blue sky. The forest path still wound, hidden in the misty haze. All the simple beauties of life, the warm family moments and the eternal love of Alara and Alexander would forever be a beautiful story, told through many generations. It is a story of healing, of hope, and of the power of love. Autumn returned to Tuscany, bringing with it the vibrant colors of maple leaves and the gentle scent of the earth. Alara, now a middle-aged woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes full of experience, sat in her workshop, gazing at the glittering gemstones. Each stone told a story of journeys taken, pains overcome, and loves found. She was sketching a new design, a simple yet exquisite necklace with a moonstone at its center. The moonstone, with its soft and mystical light, symbolized healing, rebirth, and new beginnings. Alexander walked in, carrying 2 hot cups of tea. He placed one on Alara's workbench, then wrapped his arm around her shoulder, gently kissing her hair. "Still working so hard, my gemstone sorceress?" Alexander said, his voice warm and loving. Alara smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. "I have new inspiration, my love, an inspiration from the simplest things in life." They looked together at the view outside the window. Vast vineyards stretched endlessly, ancient olive trees stood majestically, and small villages nestled on the hillsides. Everything was still the same, but Alara felt a deep peace in her soul. Years flowed by like small streams, calm and endless. Alara and Alexander, now an elderly couple with silver hair and wrinkles etched around their eyes, still lived a peaceful and happy life in Tuscany. Their small home was always filled with the laughter of their grandchildren and the aroma of traditional dishes. Alara continued to design jewelry, though her hands were no longer as nimble as they once were. Each piece of jewelry she created was a work of art, carrying the story of her life, her love for Alexander, and her healing journey. The gemstones. Under her skilled hands were not just material objects, but fragments of memories, emotions, and the best things in life. Alexander, though retired, remained Alara's companion and confidant. He still frequently took her for walks in the garden, told her stories about the world, and admired the beautiful scenery of Tuscany with her. They often returned to Blackwood Castle to visit Lily and Julian. The castle, having endured countless ups and downs of time, still stood majestically and imposing, a witness to history. The ancient gardens remained lush, and the stone paths still led to beautiful memories. One afternoon, Alara and Alexander sat together on a stone bench in the castle garden. The sunset light spread across the lush green lawns, creating a poetic and romantic scene. "Do you remember the first day we met here?" Alara said, her voice soft. "I thought my life would forever be in darkness." "Me too, my love," Alexander said, holding her hand tightly. "I thought I would always be a lonely man, only knowing work." They looked at each other, their eyes filled with love and gratitude. Their love was not a romantic fairy tale, but a journey of healing, a journey of finding light in the darkness. Their grandchildren, lively and adorable children, ran into the workshop, their laughter echoing loudly. Alara and Alexander looked at each other, their eyes filled with happiness. This was their legacy, a testament to their love and resilience. Life continued, with its ups and downs, joys and sorrows. But Alara knew she would always have Alexander by her side, her family, and love. And that was all she needed to overcome any challenge. The small stream still gurgled over the rocks. The maple leaves still fell gently onto the water. The small boat still drifted leisurely on the lake, and the mountains still stood majestically against the deep blue sky. The forest path still wound, hidden in the misty haze. All the simple beauties of life, the warm family moments, and the eternal love of Alara and Alexander would forever be a beautiful story, told through many generations. It is a story of healing, of hope, and of the power of love.